Today we've got Reece from Yamaha. Reece, introduce yourself.
Hello there, my name's Reece. I am the Business Development Manager for Yamaha Unified Communications and Commercial Installed Solutions. So internally we now call that Business Solutions. So I look after Business Solutions for the UK. I've been with Yamaha now for just over 8 years. Started on the live entertainment side, so I was actually a monitor engineer before joining Yamaha. And yeah, worked on the consoles, big gigs, all that kind of stuff. But within the last kind of 4 years, when Yamaha's moved into the unified communication space, I've started to spearhead that for the UK.
Brilliant. So what are we going to talk about today?
So today we'll be talking about mainly about our Adecia system. So we'll be talking about the ecosystem that we use for Microsoft Teams rooms, for example, Zoom spaces, etc. We've got a little bit to go through in terms of what Pro Audio actually is within Yamaha, and then a little bit of information about some exclusives that we've got to release as well.
Brilliant. So we're back with Reece from Yamaha. Reece, just tell us what Yamaha Pro Audio is and why should we bother spending money rather than just spending cheap stuff for audio?
Yeah, no problem. So Yamaha Pro Audio actually encompasses a whole range of different areas that we look after. So it's everything from conferencing technology like we've got here today, all the way through to live entertainment, so large-scale stadium shows and bits like that, and everything in between. So it's all the infrastructure needed for high-quality audio within a space. Now, we've been in the audio game since 1887, so it's been a long time. We've learned a lot throughout our years in this game. And actually, when it comes to meeting rooms, conferencing spaces, hybrid educational spaces, anything where you actually need to create a good online environment and you need good quality audio in that space, it's something that we do really excel at. Now, we've seen post-pandemic, a lot of people obviously putting in, all different levels of solutions into spaces. And a lot of people did put in a solution which just got them through the pandemic, and now they're kind of thinking about what the next step is, what the next stage is. And the conversation we always have with people when we're on site or we're talking about, what that next stage is audio quality is the number one biggest factor when it comes to a meeting space, an educational space, or whatever else, because you can have fantastic video, but unless you're really good at Pictionary, you're not going to be able to have a good meeting. Whereas if the cameras all go off, you can still hear each other, you can still have an effective meeting. And it can be overlooked in spaces, and it comes down to multiple different things. It can come down to, room acoustics, for example, but the technology that you put in the space is absolutely key. And when we see people who actually have a shootout between a cheaper solution, for example, through to a higher quality solution, every time the higher quality solution wins when you're actually thinking seriously about the space that you're in. So
brilliant, thank you. So we're back with Reece from Yamaha. Reece, talk to me about the Adecia system. That's obviously your flagship conferencing product.
Absolutely. So the Adecia system embodies a whole host of technologies. It's everything from input to output that you could possibly need for Microsoft Teams or a Zoom certified space. So it includes everything from ceiling microphones through to tabletop microphones, both wireless and wired, network switches, processors, speakers for the output. And the whole thing runs on a network infrastructure. It runs on a backbone of Dante. And basically what that means is it's just one Cat5 cable to manage everything. But one of the key things about the Adecia system really is the ease of management for it and the ease of use for the end user. Mm-hmm. So what we find, I'm going to go into an anecdote about my poor old mum here, by the way. During the I always use this as well, and she hates it, but during the pandemic, she works for the NHS. And she sat down in front of her laptop and they said, right, click on the star in the corner to have an online meeting, and she had no idea what she was doing. Stared at herself for about 15 minutes on the screen before she realised she had to let herself into a room. Okay. So it's the level of end user technical capabilities can range. We were talking about this the other day at UCX Manchester about technical literacy. What we've tried to do is try to make this system as easy as possible for the end users to actually interact with and to utilise. So the whole thing, although it's very complicated in what it does in terms of the technology that's built into it, how it deals with spaces, etc., the end user, all it is just one USB cable that they plug into their laptop or whichever device they're bringing along, and then it works straight away. It's driverless, it recognises it as an audio I/O, sets everything automatically. So as long as they can plug it in, it's going to work. And we've seen that save so much time across so many meetings in so many spaces that we've seen installed into. I can't talk about the user themselves because it's under NDA, but one place did a study on how much money they were losing each year, and it was in the millions just by losing 10 minutes at the start of each meeting, 10 minutes just not being able to use the kit. So eliminating that is a big saving, and from a management perspective, if those users can come in and use the actual kit straight away, it means AVIT management for something could be looking after something else rather than going and dealing with support calls as well.
Brilliant. So just talk me through the elements, because the Adecia system is a complete ecosystem, isn't it?
Yes, it is indeed. So the elements include, just a moment ago, so we've got a ceiling microphone. The ceiling microphone will fit in a standardised ceiling. It can be hung. It can, fit into any space. The main thing about the ceiling microphone is it's designed to look after relatively large spaces, so 50 metres squared per tile. And basically, the capsules that you've got within it will create beam-forming arrays. And what that basically means is that it's going to lock onto people within the space. So it will be 4 beams, and those beams will lock onto the 4 users that are in that space. So each person has their own pickup, their own beam. If a 5th person starts speaking, it just means the oldest unused beam is going to reallocate. What that means is it's dynamic. So if we're in a space such as this and we decided to change the orientation of it, we could do that. We don't have to worry about changing any settings to do with the microphone itself. It's going to automatically deal with that.
So the mic looks at people and ignores air conditioning noise.
Precisely. So there's actually some technology built into it to ignore that air conditioning noise. Great question, by the way. So it's called HVAD, which is Human Voice Activity Detection. And what that will do is use spectral subtraction. I won't go too far into it from a technological perspective, but it ignores background noise, be that tapping on tables, being rustling of paper, air conditioning, etc., and just focuses on human voice instead. And it uses those beams to make sure it's just focusing on human voice.
Brilliant. What else is in the family?
So the other things that are in the family as well include the tabletop wireless and the tabletop wired microphones. So this gives you flexibility in terms of different spaces and different use cases. So we've seen, for example, seminar areas, town hall type areas, using ceiling microphones for open areas where there might be audiences who might want to ask questions, but then using gooseneck microphones for top table speakers for that kind of real high quality tight pickup pattern that you can get from those as well. So there's flexibility in the system. Then we have our little processor. So our little core processor, we call it, basically just does all of your automatic audio routing, room tuning, and assignment of anything that's actually within the system itself automatically for you.
So there's a lot of processing going on in the background, so the user just hears a good sound at the other end.
Precisely. The end user, all they do is walk in, plug in, and it works. And that's all that happens, and they just hear a fantastic sound. That's it.
Brilliant. Thank you. So we're back with Reece from Yamaha. Reece, you've got some exclusive news.
I have indeed, yes. So to preface this exclusive news, Yamaha have built the Adecia system to create a whole ecosystem of products, as we kind of said a little bit earlier. And the idea is that this ecosystem of products can easily be added to if you're an existing user, as well as offering further options in the future if you are a new user of the products as well. So what we are doing is we are releasing a couple of new products. They are going to be released on the 5th of June, and they include a network mute button. So the network mute button is going to be designed so that it will fit into the system again on the network, hence the name network mute button. So it's nice and easy to integrate if you want to. And it can be utilised to mute either the whole system or a part of the system if you need to. So a couple of use cases for this, for example, if we're in a room like this and we just wanted to be able to mute our Teams meeting, we could hit that, mutes everything globally. Or if we're in a situation like we were talking about earlier, town hall type space where you've got audience microphones and a top table, you could just mute the audio for the audience microphones and then just have the top table still going. So it makes it easy to be able to kind of, open those up for questions and close them again as well. So that's the first announcement. And the second is that we are going to be releasing a Dante-enabled or a network ceiling speaker as well. So we currently have the column speakers as part of the Adecia system, which obviously are absolutely fantastic. But for some spaces, obviously, you may not want speakers on the wall. You might want speakers in the ceiling, for example. And what we want to do is make the system as flexible as an ecosystem as possible. So these network speakers are going to, once again, run off of one Cat5 cable straight back to the network switch, be automatically recognised by the Adecia system, still usable with all the auto tuning and everything else as well. But yeah, long and short of it is they're going to be available hopefully by September this year.
Brilliant. Thank you.